Hello, I'm Jeff Paur, senior writer for RealTime Fantasy Sports. Welcome to another edition of the RealTime Fantasy Sports Show. On today's show, we're going to do another live draft here with my son, Henry. Henry, thanks for joining me once again.
Yeah, no problem.
So this is going to be an RTFFC Gold draft. We're really looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. We did one of these drafts last week, Henry. Was that on Thursday?
Yeah, I believe so.
Correct. So that was a good draft. A lot of interesting picks were made. So we're going to go over this draft as well. Hopefully, it's another interesting draft. You can learn something from it as well. Before we get to that, though, just remember you can play on all different formats on our side as well, not just this RTFFC Pro. We have the Fantasy Championship with this $500,000. This RTFFC Pro is $500 to get in, and you have prizes for each level. If you win your league, you win $3,500. If you win the entire tournament, it's $20,000. Oh no, that's the Super Pro. This is the Pro, so it's $2,000 for first, $17,500 for the grand prize for the Pro tournament. Sorry, I misspoke there. The only difference with this format for this, before I get into some of the other games we have to offer, is there's two flex spots. So in our normal one, we have one flex spot. This two flex spots in this RTFFC, it is not quarterback, though. It's running back, receiver, tight end. Correct?
Yes.
All right. Other formats, too. We have our best ball games. Our best ball championship is going to sell out. So you definitely want to get in that sooner than later. It should be really interesting. That championship's a ton of fun. And I hope you get into that because it's going to sell out sooner or later. Great championship. We have our All-American games. We have our just normal best ball games. Also our commissioner product, too, which is RTFS News for the first year. If you want to get on and get a free commissioner product, it's RTFS News for the password for that. So if you want to do that for the first year, it's totally free. So if you're new to the site, never used our commissioner product, I highly recommend you check this out. Also, these videos, Henry and I like doing these, but I do these as well. We have a great studio in-house now at RealTime Fantasy Sports. We have guests. We do different types of topics as well. We're going to be posting a lot of those as the season gets closer too. So really looking forward to this draft tonight. Again, it's the RTFFC Gold, Henry. Let's bring up the draft board so everybody can see it and see what we're looking at. It already started, so we're about 5 minutes into it. So I would expect several picks have been made. Also, I can see the comments now with this layout that we have. So if you want to post anything in here, happy to answer any questions, Henry and I, or if you want to comment on the draft, if you have a observation about something going on, you can also do that as well in the chat. So we will keep an eye on that during this broadcast. Let's bring up this draft now, see what's going on, Henry. Let's set the table too and let everybody see where everybody's picking. And I'll go through the teams right now. So RNR Pro has the first pick, then Mongooses. Here I go again, has the third pick, Bronx Tail, Team Thompson, Irish Hooligan, Jax Pro, Fozzie Dog, BC23, MMRTFFC Pro, Falcon Frenzy, and then 12th pick. That's an original name for their 12th pick.
Yeah, original.
So if I'm correct, if we look at this, wasn't Irish Hooligan in the one last time? And Fozzie Dog, I think?
I think they both were, yeah.
Either way, there's always a ton of great owners in these drafts. So it should be really interesting to see what they do with this draft here. We can see it already took place. These are all the highly rated owners. I should say the first round's already taken place. So let's recap the first round, Henry. Let's go over that. We're going to be on from 8 to 9 Central Time, so 9 to 10 Eastern Time. We'll be on for 1 hour recapping this draft, though. So let's go over the first round, Henry. So RNR Pro took Jonathan Taylor. And the last one we did, Christian McCaffrey went first.
Yeah.
This time, Taylor goes first, then McCaffrey. Najee Harris, Justin Jefferson, Austin Eckler, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Dalvin Cook, and Saquon Barkley makes it into the first round. Quick observations, Henry, about that first round.
Well, I feel like Derrick Henry fell a little bit from when I've seen him go recently. I think it's the 7 or 8 spot. Surprised about that. And I think Chase went a little earlier than I expected, and I feel like Eckler fall and Najee going pretty high in my opinion there.
Yeah, this is the highest I think we've seen Najee go recently. So he goes third overall. Obviously, some of the you have high hopes for him. The Here I Go Again team. I do like Najee Harris this year personally. I think he's going to have a good year. I'm expecting big things for him. And so Joe Mixon, too, at the end of this round. So we had 3 receivers go, the rest all running backs. Saquon Barkley makes it the first round. It's the first time I've seen that here recently. So he's getting a lot of hype here as the season gets closer, right?
Yeah, I see that, and I love the hype. I think he's going to be great this year. Looks very explosive, like he was his rookie season. And their offensive coordinators come out and said they want to give him the ball in that offense, and I don't blame him. And I'm fine with them going in the first round because there's a lot of upside there in that pick.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too. I think it's risky, but again, we talked about this in the last draft. You have to take chances and get high upside guys in a contest like this, which has an overall championship, not just single league championships. Also got an overall one where you got a chance to win a lot of money. You got to take some chances, and that's what the 12th pick did.
Yep.
So let's recap the second round, Henry. Now, so it's complete. So the 12th pick goes Alvin Kamara after getting Saquon Barkley, then Travis Kelce, Javonte Williams, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuel, CeeDee Lamb, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, Leonard Fournette. So we had 6 receivers go and a tight end, and then 5 running backs. Kelce goes with the second pick in this round.
Yeah.
Not a complete surprise there at all. That's about normally where he goes. Obviously, that Falcon frenzy team's really high on Kelce, and he wants to get that number 1 tight end on his roster. Do you still expect Kelce to have that huge season this year?
Yeah, I do expect him, especially if Tyreek Hill gone. I feel like he might get even more targets in that offense. I don't think they're going to take away from him. So I feel like he still remains at top tight end value.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to get a lot of targets. I wouldn't be surprised if he tails off a little bit, though, to be honest with you. I'm not sure Mark Andrews is going to get the same value. He already went volume, I should say, as he did last year and finished first overall in scoring. I still think he's going to have a good year. I'm not sure he's going to repeat the volume. I'm not sure Kelce's going to repeat the volume as well. So we had 6 receivers go then. Keenan Allen actually went with the 10th pick in the second round. I think that's the highest I've seen him go.
Yeah, it's pretty high for him. And I don't blame him. I love that offense again this year. The Chargers are a very nice offense this year.
So ironically, I would have taken Pittman before Allen, and he ended up getting both of them anyway.
Yeah.
So he got Allen and then Pittman, so I guess it worked out for him. Personally, I love Michael Pittman this year. I think he's going to have a monster year. I love the fact that Matt Ryan stormed the ball, so that's a really exciting player for me this year. I have a lot of shares of Michael Pittman this year, and so that team that took Najee Harris has Keenan Allen and Michael Pittman then. So again, we have 6 receivers go here. Tyreek Hill went at the end of the round. Leonard Fournette as well. I mean, the running backs with so many taken, it's really, I feel like it's kind of up for grabs after Chubb, in my opinion. You can go a bunch of different ways. The Bronx tail went Aaron Jones after taking Justin Jefferson. So he's one of the teams, we did this last time, that went receiver first. And now he has 2 running backs after that. So it's Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, James Conner. Do you like that? Do you think his running backs are still decent after going receiver first?
I love the Jefferson pick. I like Aaron Jones this year. I think he's had a good year, but I'm worried about James Conner. I mean, I get that he had a great finish to the season, but I worry about him retaining that value that he did then.
Yeah, he had a lot of touchdowns, really inflated his value. And I could see Kyler Murray taking some of those running scores away this year. He didn't have quite as many rushing touchdowns last year. So I'm a little worried about James Conner as well. Ezekiel Elliott went after him. I'd rather have Zeke than Conner. Personally, I'd probably take Zeke ahead of a couple guys that have already gone as well. Even Leonard Fournette, he's another guy. I know you took him in your league that you drafted recently, but I have my concerns about Fournette as well a little bit. Not just because of the whole weight gate thing where he was supposedly way overweight, they weren't happy with him, whatever, and now he's back to his normal weight. But I still have concerns about Fournette. I just don't know if he's going to have that monster year that he had last year. I know Ronald Jones isn't there, but I could see Rashad White getting some of that work out in the passing game. He got a lot of work in their preseason game over the weekend, which I thought was encouraging for his value. So I could see a little regression from Fournette this year.
Yeah.
So let's look at the other teams that went receiver first in the first round as well. The Irish Hooligan team. So he went 3 straight receivers.
Yeah.
We saw this in the draft on Thursday as well. He's the only team to do this here, though. And the team next to him went 2 straight receivers. So Irish Hooligan has Cooper Kupp, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans. Jax Pro next to him has Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel. So those guys load up a receiver. Again, They do it because they want the sure things, less risk.
Yeah.
They want the steady production. I think they're also kind of, higher upside on a weekly basis for that huge game, an elite receiver as well. So you kind of look at that when you get in a championship like this too. So that's what these teams did here. I'm anxious again to see how the running back situations turn out, though. I think this Jax Pro team did something that another team did last draft as well, when Steve Jax Pro has A.J. Dillon as his first back. Didn't another team have A.J. Dillon?
I believe they did. I believe they did have A.J. Dillon as their first back.
And we probably talked about it too. What do you feel about having A.J. Dillon as your first back?
I don't know about that one. Now, personally, looking at that draft board, I would have rather had Akers over him, because he's a surefire guy who's going to get the most touches in the running game in that offense rather than Dillon.
That's true. Akers is a risk coming back from an injury. He's been injury prone, but you're right. He's more of a 3-down back than A.J. Dillon, probably not splitting work with Darrell Henderson. I'm not too impressed with Darrell Henderson personally. So no. I think if Akers is healthy and can stay on the field, he's going to have a huge year getting a lot of work in that offense. You're right. I probably would have went him over A.J. Dillon personally. So let's recap this third round now. So Mark Andrews went with the first pick in the third round, then Travis Etienne, Michael Pittman, James Conner, Ezekiel Elliott, Mike Evans, A.J. Dillon, Josh Allen, first QB off the board, Cam Akers, T. Higgins, Patrick Mahomes, and then A.J. Brown. So we actually had 2 quarterbacks go off the board in this round, another tight end as well. So team that picked first, he goes running back, tight end.
I like that.
Doesn't go receiver. He goes with Mark Andrews, gets the best tight end on the board. Anxious to see how it works out for him, though, and his number 1 receiver spot, though. It worries me a little bit. I really would have liked Michael Pittman there personally. I would have been surprised to get him there in that first spot. I would have felt a little bit better about that, but he has Jonathan Taylor.
That is true. So that kind of helps you there. And same with Fournette. I like both those 2 backs, and he included a top 3 fantasy tight end. So I'm fine with that. I like that.
Like the second team's build, too, Mongoose is Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, and then Etienne.
Yeah.
Again, I kind of talked about this in the last broadcast. I feel like Etienne's more of a rookie, but there's always rookie backs. I did the story where a rookie back's finished in the top 10 each for the last 5 years, I believe. So good money says Etienne, or I'm not going to name the other back because he hasn't been picked yet, but they're going to finish in the top 10. So I think you got to take some chances on guys like that when you get in a contest like this. So I like the Etienne pick, even though he went ahead of, James Conner, Ezekiel Elliott, Cam Akers, definitely guys that people probably, value more at this point. But I think going big's the way to go. And he has McCaffrey and Etienne. So these are 2 guys that are going to be good pass catching backs and a good receiver as well. So the team that got Josh Allen, let's look at his build, Fozzie Dog. Derrick Henry, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen. So he has the combo.
I think he likes the Bills, in my opinion, right there. I mean, he got a lot of Bills. He got
another one. You're right.
You got Gabriel Davis, Diggs, Allen, and he's got Henry too. I like that team. It's not bad.
Again, if you're in one of these big contests and you want to do big in the finals, and when everything's on the line, I mean, having that stack like that, especially when it's a team like the Bills, they look phenomenal this weekend, right?
They did. I'm really excited to see that offense play. I think that's going to be one heck of an offense this season.
And the starting offense wasn't even really intact. I mean, they were out there. Josh Allen was, but not everybody
was out there on the field. There. Yeah, Gabriel Davis was the number 1. I don't know if Knox played or not, though.
Yeah, I don't either. But still, they moved down, scored right away, and then the backups looked phenomenal.
Yeah,
all those guys. Even Case Keenum moved that offense up and down the field. So really encouraging performance by then. Fozzie Dog must have seen that game, because he's loading up on the Bills, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, and then Derrick Henry, pretty sure number 1 back. So interesting build for him, but definitely could be a winning build. Let's look at the team next to his while we're there. So Joe Mixon, then Devontae Adams, Cam Akers, and Cortland Sutton.
Now, I really like that team. He's got 2 running backs that I like a lot this year, including Devontae Adams, is a great number 1 wide receiver, and Sutton, who I think has a lot of upside this season of adding a very good quarterback now to that offense.
Yeah, Adams is steady. He's going to get a ton of targets. Joe Mixon, same way in my opinion. I think those are really safe number 1 players at each position, Mixon and Adams. Then Akers is a high upside guy. Just talked about him. Then Cortland Sutton getting a chance to be a number 1 receiver with Russell Wilson. You think this is finally the breakout year for Sutton?
I think this is finally it. He's poised for everything here. A new offense, an offensive coordinator. He's also added Russell Wilson. This is going to be his year, in my opinion.
So I started to go in that. Did I read the entire round? Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
So AJ Brown, that kind of surprised me. He went the last pick of the third round.
Yeah.
He went after T. Higgins, after Michael Pittman, excuse me, Keenan Allen. A little surprising.
Yeah, it's also surprising to see him fall this much. And I bet the 12th pick is happy here with that pick, getting in that late.
He's happy to have the 12th pick, right?
Yeah.
That's bad. That was bad. But regardless, I still, like you said, I like his team. Barkley, Kamara, AJ Brown, and then he went DJ Moore with the fourth, his fourth pick in the fourth round. So that's a good build. I mean, 4 really good players. Barkley and Kamara are both possible top 10 backs. I think AJ Brown's top 10 receiver, Moore's top 15 with Baker Mayfield too. So really good build for that 12th pick. Again, we've kind of talked about this. You just did a draft, and you picked towards the top. You had the
second overall
pick. You got Christian McCaffrey. Did you like picking there, or would you have rather picked towards the end?
Now, personally, if how my draft worked out in the end, I really liked where I picked. I got a lot of guys who I think have high upside. It could end up backfiring if they all get injured, because I got a lot of guys that definitely could get injured. But in the end, I think the draft could really pan out and be very nice.
So you were happy with the second overall pick. Is that where you're kind of feeling now? If you have to do more drafts going forward, do you like to pick near the top, or what do you want to do?
In a draft like this 12 team, I think the back's more possible, but there's a 10 team, and I think towards the front was very nice, in my opinion.
So 10 team more the front, 12 team more the back. So in my opinion, I still like the towards the back personally. Just with anything from the 10th on, I like the build of all these teams. So Mixon, Adams, Akers, Sutton, that was the 10th pick. 11th pick, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, T. Higgins, Kyle Pitts. 11th pick, Dalvin Cook, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, J.K. Dobbins. 12th pick, we just talked about that team, Barkley, Kamara, Brown, and more. So really like those teams. So I kind of like that spot personally, especially with seeing a lot of these drafts. I've done a lot of these best ball drafts as well. So really interesting stuff to see how these teams are built from different spots. So for us, we just said it. We like picking towards the back. I don't see any comments or anything on here yet. So if you have any comments, go ahead and leave them here. I believe I can see them. I hope I can see them, because if somebody's posted them, I have not seen them. We have some people watching though, so that's good. Let's go over this fourth round now. That just happened. We recapped the first 3 rounds. Let's look at the fourth now. I just mentioned DJ Moore. He went the first pick. Then J.K. Dobbins, Kyle Pitts, third tight end off the board. Cortland Sutton, Gabriel Davis, Terry McLaurin, Breece Hall, who I kind of alluded to earlier and didn't mention his name, George Kittle, Jalen Waddle, David Montgomery, Mike Williams, Lamar Jackson. So let's get back to Breece Hall. So Irish Hooligan went 3 straight receivers, and then he went Breece Hall. I like it.
I like it too. He got 3 very, very good wide receivers, including Cooper Kupp, who's very well poised to maybe finish number 1 again. I don't think he'll repeat exactly what he did last year, but he definitely could finish number 1 overall wide receiver. CeeDee Lamb, I really like him in that offense with the Cowboys. Evans, I like him this year. He's always finishes top 10 in my opinion. He's always that good. Steady. And Breece Hall, a lot of high upside in that pick, and I like that as a guy that you might finish not maybe top 10, probably top 15 in my opinion.
I don't think personally Irish Hooligan could have drew it up any better personally, because you're getting a 3 down back in Hall who's capable of being top 10 in my opinion as his number 1 back in the 4th round. So I think he has to be thrilled with that. He just went another receiver, which is a little surprising. I may have looked running back again, but again, it's kind of thinned out at this point. So not a huge surprise that he didn't do that, but he went Brandon Cooks. So now he has 4 receivers. Again, 2 flex plays in this format. And so he could start 2 receivers there, which he's likely going to do, and then do 2 backs. He's going to try to find a second back and platoon him with what he has. But that's a pretty good start to his team. You see DK Metcalf falling a lot. So he goes after Brandon Cooks here. I don't know what receiver is off the board here. I don't want to count through them all in front of everybody. It looks like he's, 18, 19 off the board probably? Yeah. What's your expectations for Metcalf?
I have him set decently low just because I don't expect that offense to do much at all. Ran by 2 mediocre QBs, in my opinion. I don't know how that's going to go.
Looks like it's going to be Drew Lock. Geno Smith,
Yeah.
he had his chance. Lock had COVID and missed out last week. Might have been a good thing because Geno Smith did not move the offense well at all. I think Lock's, he's more of a gunslinger. He makes bad decisions. Isn't always the most accurate, but I think for Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, it's a positive. If he starts, right?
I'd rather have him over Geno Smith because Geno Smith is that guy that he can scramble a little bit too, so it could take away from them.
Yep, totally agree. So that's the build of Irish Hooligan after taking Breece Hall. So let's keep looking at this fourth round, though. We didn't talk much about it. Kyle Pitts goes in this round, so he's the third tight end ahead of George Kittle. I'm totally fine with that, and I like him at this spot. I'm good with Pitts at the end of the third, early fourth round. Absolutely love him. I know you said that he was looking good tonight.
Yes,
correct.
He made one catch where he burnt the corner on the outside of the tight end and got like a 53-yard catch, and it was very nice. And Mariota was slinging the ball too. He looked very nice too, in my opinion.
Interesting. Yeah, I love Pitts. Absolutely love him this year. If I'm going early on a tight end, I think I said it in the last stream. Pitts is my guy. I don't think I want Kelsey in the second round. Not sure. Andrews is usually late second, early third. I'm not sure I want to do that. But if I can get Pitts at the end of third, early fourth round, I'm all over it. I think he could have just a huge year and be a fantasy difference maker.
Now, I want to talk about the first overall pick, the guy who took Jonathan Taylor first. His team, it's very interesting. With Taylor, Fournette, Andrews, then Lamar Jackson, and I say his first name. Ramondre Stevenson. He has not taken a wide receiver yet.
He went the anti-Irish hooligan and Jack's pro.
Yeah.
So he's doing no receiver. I don't think is there a no receiver strategy in fantasy?
No, I've not seen one like that. That's there, but does have the stack of Andrews and Lamar, which I like that. Now I think there's a guy maybe here that I think he's probably targeting to get here in this round, but I'm not going to say it.
Don't say it. But I agree. It is interesting. It's a great point. Usually you see most teams have at least two receivers. Every team in this draft has, well, actually this team that just picked a receiver, he only had 1-2, kind of did the same thing. The team in the 11th hole, Falcon Frenzy. He has Dalvin Cook, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, J.K. Dobbins. Then he went Darnell Mooney and Chris Godwin. Interesting. So he still has two pretty good receivers. He didn't get a third running back.
But I like his first two. And I also talk about some of these teams. Every team that has taken a QB so far has them stacked with their best receiver.
Good point. Well done, Henry.
You have Mahomes with Kelce. You have Allen and Diggs with also Gabriel Davis. Herbert, Keenan Allen, and Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, which I like that strategy. You get that stack, and it works out well, in my opinion.
I agree. In the big championships, I just think it's smart. And I look at the playoff schedules as well. I know a couple. I don't want to, give secrets away, but some teams have better playoff schedules for receivers and quarterbacks and other ones. You can look it up. It's on our free draft guide. So it's freedraftguide.com. It's totally free. It's an app too. Really proud of it. It's a great product, totally free. A lot of great information in there, including the strength of schedules for all of the playoffs. Again, I don't really examine those really closely, but I think they are something that's fun to look at least for these big championships, because you can look at some players that might have advantageous schedules. I know things change from year to year, but it's based on last year's statistics, and normally things don't change a whole lot. So something definitely to look at. Again, it's in our draft guide, our free draft guide, which is on the site as well. It's rtsports.com, and then there's a draft guide link at the top of the page if you want to look at that. So that's on there. All right, Henry, we're through 5 rounds now. How about I read the players that were taken in the next round, and then we pick our favorite stacks after 5 rounds. So that way you can look at it while I'm doing it. So I'm going to go with the 5th round now, round 5. First pick was Ramondre Stevenson, then Allen Robinson, Justin Herbert, Deontay Johnson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brandon Cooks, DK Metcalf, Darren Waller, Michael Thomas, Marquise Brown, Darnell Mooney, and Adam Thielen. Okay, Henry. After 5 rounds, who are you liking?
I'm liking the guy at the 11th pick here. What's his? I can't read his name.
Falcon Frenzy?
Falcon Frenzy. I really like it. He's got Cook and Dobbins, 2 guys I really like this year. Dobbins, who I'm very high on. He's one of my guys that I think might have a great season. Cook, I like him a lot this year. Holmesy, Kelsey, love that stack. I like the 2 wide receivers there. Mooney, who's the number 1 guy. There's no one else in that offense I think Fields is going to be able to throw the ball to. And Chris Godwin I like a lot. Because we've seen Evans, he's on and off on the field with his injury history. And Godwin, I know he's coming off an ACL tear, but I still think I like him a lot.
I like that team too. Good team. I actually like 12th pick. That's my favorite team right now. Barkley, Kamara, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, Adam Thielen, and Josh Jacobs. So I think that's a really good team. I love his receivers, 3 really good receivers, and he did not use first or second round pick on a receiver. Still got a number 1 in Brown. DJ Moore I like a lot. Adam Thielen too. I think that offense could be good with Kevin O'Connell running the show. The former Rams offensive assistant got to learn from
Sean
McVay. Sorry, I was blanking. Thank God you're here, Henry. So he got to learn from him. I think that offense is going to be great this year. I think Adam Thielen's actually a little bit undervalued in my opinion. He's a great red zone target. He's had huge seasons in the past. I know Justin Jefferson's there. He's going to have a huge year. He's my number 1 overall receiver, so I'm not forgetting about him. But I think there's a lot to go around right now. So I think that 12th pick really doing a good job. Josh Jacobs, too, as his 6th round pick. I think that's really good value. Kenyon Drake just got released today, correct? Zamir White is there, and then you also have Amir Abdullah. But I still think Jacobs is going to get a lot of work. I know they like to rotate the backs, and you're getting a guy that has been a really consistent back in what could be a really good offense in the 6th round. I think that's really good value for this 12th pick. So he's my favorite team so far. That's after 6 rounds. We'll have to see what he does at QB and tight end. I may change my pick. And you may change your pick as well. But after 6 rounds, those are our 2 favorite teams. We have 1 more pick here to go in the 6th round. Henry?
Now, my thoughts here is I saw the guy that just went not too long ago. I think 4th pick just took him. The guy that I thought the first guy was going to pick with his wide receiver. I thought he was going to take Bateman. I thought he might try to get that stack with Andrews, Lamar, and Bateman. I thought that would have been really nice. And we do see here in the 6th round, the last pick was DeAndre Hopkins by him. So my thinking is once he comes back after 6 weeks, that's a good guy to have as your number 1.
True.
And he also took Lazard, who I think has a lot of upside in that offense. We don't know who the number 1's going to be for Aaron Rodgers.
Yep. And receivers definitely deep. So you can see the theory on maybe waiting on it. I still want to get an elite number 1. He got that in DeAndre Hopkins, but he's not going to be there for the first 6 weeks. So interesting strategy from RNR Pro. Hopkins, too. Sometimes he slips a little later. You can get him 9th, 10th round, 8th, and he took him in the 6th. It's tough when you're picking on the wheel like that. Got to make a decision. You don't know what's going to be left when you pick again. So interesting stack there from the number 1 overall pick right now. So let's go over the 6th round. It was Josh Jacobs, Chris Godwin, Juju Smith-Schuster, Antonio Gibson, Elijah Moore, Tony Pollard, Elijah Mitchell, Chase Edmonds, Rashad Bateman, Damian Pierce, Jerry Jeudy, and DeAndre Hopkins. So you talked about Bateman, though, too, maybe the first team getting him. See, I don't know if I love that just for the fact that they're not a pass-first offense. So I'm not sure if I want to load all the pass catchers on my team. I like the Jackson and Andrews because Jackson will run the ball and Andrews is his top target, but I think maybe loading too many Ravens might be a bit of a mistake, personally.
Yeah, it's fine.
You okay with that?
I'm okay with that. I mean, I do like Bateman, though, a lot this year because I don't know who else to throwing the ball to in that offense besides Andrews. He's going to be the number 1 wide receiver. And he's coming off a season where he didn't have Lamar Jackson for most of it. So
it's true.
I think it might be better for him this year.
Yeah, it's funny, too. Like, as we look at this draft, it's not really – there's nothing really that, like, is eye-popping, in my opinion. Like, anything crazy. Like, these drafters are all really good. So you don't see people making many mistakes.
No.
And there's nothing really, in my opinion, that is shocking that somebody went this soon or, fell that far. I mean, I think the only thing that was really stood out to me was the Keenan Allen.
Oh, yeah. Besides that, dude, I mean, you see that 3 wide receivers, the guy goes 3 straight. That's the only other thing. It's not much.
But that's not really that out of the ordinary for these type of leagues. A lot of people do that. You and I probably wouldn't do that with our strategies, but a lot of people do it. So the second pick, let's look at his team now. He just went 4 straight receivers. He has Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, Etienne, Mike Williams, Allen Robinson, Jerry Jeudy, and Drake London. Every time I see Jerry Jeudy, I'm going to digress here. I think of Doug Jeudy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. But
He was on episode I saw in the last, I think it was earlier today. It was on though, but every time I hear Jerry Judy, I think of him, Doug Judy. You remember that?
yeah, I remember that.
The guy from The Office?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's his name? I don't even know
Not
his
The
name.
Office, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
No, he was on The Office, though.
Oh.
Doug Judy was.
Oh, Daryl?
Yeah, Daryl from The Office. That's what I think of every time I see Jerry Judy. So I personally, getting back to Jerry Judy, I think he's kind of a boomer bust pick in my opinion. Round 6.
We don't know what's really going to happen there, in my opinion, but I do feel like Sutton has evolved, though, and it's a number 1 option in that offense. But Judy, he still could be really good because we know Russ in Seattle, he loved Lockett and DK. And I feel like those guys are kind of like that. Sutton's a big guy that's going to go up and get the ball when it's thrown up. And Judy's that kind of good route runner.
Yeah.
And get open.
I haven't seen Judy do it yet. That's my issue. I just haven't seen him do it yet on the field. I know the QB situation has been great, but again, I think he's a risky pick, but you have to take chances. And this team has definitely taken a lot of chances at Mongoose's team with, McCaffrey and Etienne and as the his second back ahead of guys like James Conner and Ezekiel Elliott and Cam Akers. So
now I have some questions here about Fozzie Dog here. He just got his number 2 running back is Isaiah Pacheco, which is very interesting to get him as your number 2.
He took him in the last draft too.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting to get him as your number 2 back. That's a little risky there because we don't even know if he's going to start.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I don't think he's personally going to start. I think he's going to be involved in the offense, and I also think it's a little overblown. I don't know if did you see the tweet today where they were kind of blasting him. He missed there was a run where there was a hole to the right and looked like he probably could have cut it and scored. And Mahomes looked a little distraught that he didn't do that. And everybody's like, oh, he has terrible vision. And, they're kind of, I don't think you can judge a player on one run. So it's just kind of crazy to me. There's a lot of fantasy analysts tweeting about this. And I thought that was a little bit of an overreaction. There's tons of overreactions in the preseason, though. But still, he's obviously going to be a factor in this offense because they're using him early in games with the number 1 offense. So obviously they like him. They like what they're seeing on the practice field, right?
Yeah. Now me personally, I think this is a year for Hilaire. This is a prove it or something's going to happen. So I don't know here. I think this is a prove it year for him or something's going to happen. He's not going to start. But I think this year is a Hilaire year. I really like him a lot. It's interesting to see Pacheco go before Hilaire, in my opinion.
You're talking about players that weren't drafted yet, Henry. These guys are going to be all over you. It's okay. It is very interesting, though. I did notice that too. I didn't want to say anything, but definitely really kind of surprising to see that go down because I still think he has more overall potential. But maybe Fozzie Dog knows something about Pacheco that we don't.
Yeah.
He's seen him, maybe followed him in college. I know his stats in college weren't anything to write home about, unfortunately, and then he takes
a lot. Now I have some also interesting things. Another 2 people took stacks again as Russell Wilson and Cortland Sutton now, who I took in my fantasy draft this weekend, which I like a lot. And we had Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. Yep. So 2 more stacks.
I love it. These guys are killing it. I think that's a great strategy. I think it's really smart to do in a contest like this. Maybe they listened to our last telecast, Henry, where we kind of talked about that as well. But again, I think it's smart. And a lot of QBs flying off the board now. This is kind of the spot where I think most people will have a QB on the roster after round 8, round 9. I think everyone does here right now, except for 3 teams.
Yeah, I believe so.
One thing that was interesting, I haven't recapped many of the rounds lately, and I will in a second here, but Jalen Hurts is the 5th QB off the board.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I feel like this year he's provided with so much in that offense now that I like him a lot.
Yeah, I do too. Just a little surprised to see him go ahead of guys like, Kyler Murray and Joe Burrow and guys like Dak Prescott. Hurts, I think, has a great offensive cast around him, surrounding cast around him. So I think the sky's the limit for him. I like him a lot too, personally. Yeah. He's a guy I've been targeting a lot of my drafts in this round 8, 9 range. Maybe he's going to start going sooner because people have the same thoughts that I do.
I mean, you like him. You're going to take him that early. Like one of those guys, might as well.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I talked about it the last the last draft. ADP is not the ranking. It just tells you where the player goes. So if you like a player and you want to take him, go get him when you can get him. So ADP is a good guide to when you know that they won't be available to you. So if you want to wait and you think Jalen Hurts has an ADP of 90 and you're up on pick 89, I would maybe not take him at that 89. I might take him the round before you pick. You know, just if you want him, you gotta take him. ADP is not a ranking; it's a guide for you come draft day. I'm just putting that out there. Rankings are totally different, and don't get caught up in it too. I think sometimes people get caught up in ADP and they see somebody falling and they're like, and you don't really have him on your radar and you don't want him, but you see him falling, and you're like, oh, I got to take him. He's falling. Well, if you don't want him and he's falling, it doesn't mean you have to take him because he's supposed to go 3 rounds sooner. It doesn't mean you have to take him. If you don't think he's going to have a good year and he's not a good player, don't take him. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
All right. All right. Let's recap another round. Sorry for flying off the handle there. And so let's do round 7, right, Henry? Is that where we are?
Yeah.
So it went, I think Alan Lazard was the first pick in round 7.
Was.
Yeah. So Alan Lazard, Drake London, that might be as high as I've seen him go. Dalton Schultz, Jalen Hurts, Amari Cooper, Kareem Hunt, Rashad Penny, Isaiah Pacheco, TJ Hawkinson, Joe Burrow, Cordarrelle Patterson, and Kyler Murray. So Drake London, that's pretty high for him. Goes ahead of Amari Cooper, Christian Kirk. Guys like that. What do you think about him going at that spot?
I mean, I'm not surprised by it. Did you look at that offense? I mean, no, it's Mariota, but who's he competing for targets at wide receiver? Nobody besides Pitts, and he plays tight end. He's still going to get a bunch of targets, but he's not competing if anybody else. There's no other receivers on that team that I would even think get targets. I mean, Ridley, if he wasn't suspended, but yeah.
It's true. It's true. So, situation a lot of times. I look at that with rookies, guys who go into good situations that are set up for success. And it looks like London is set up for success in his situation. Doesn't have a lot to compete with for targets. Could get a lot of work. So good situation for him. And I think that's what Mongooses was thinking there. He went, is that 5 straight receivers now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So he has 5 straight receivers after his Travis.
Now I'm going to assume here he goes running back.
We'll see. I don't want to guess who it is, but I think you might be right. I think he might go running back. You want QB, Trey Lance. So a little bit of a surprise. He's still holding out. Again, sometimes these owners have guys in mind, guys they think can produce, they can get later. So that's what Mongooses is thinking here, I think. I mean, he has definitely some depth issues at running back right now, but his receivers are deep. He's probably going to play 2 guys at the flex at receiver. Has a good QB with a lot of upside, Trey Lance. So Trey Lance just got picked. Talk to me about your thoughts on Lance, Henry. What do you think?
Now, I'm very, I don't know yet, and 50-50 on him. I kind of like him because there's a lot of upside there, but I also have some doubts about him, what he can do. We've seen him play. I feel like some of his issues is reads, but we saw a bunch of him in preseason. We saw him in the first game. He threw a deep bomb to Danny Gray where that was a missile. Great throw. He has good arm. He's a very good arm. He has a lot of potential. He can run very well. Reminds me of a young Cam Newton.
Yeah. Cam Newton doesn't look like that anymore, though.
No.
Young Cam Newton was the key to that phrase, Henry. Yeah. I do. I think Lance is a huge upside guy, though. I love him. I think he's going to have a big year. I really like him. I think he's a top 10 type talent. I personally, if I'm picking him, I'm probably going to go QB kind of early after I take him just to be safe. It's a deep position though, and I think you can get Lance a little later than some of the elite guys. So I kind of like that strategy of maybe going, Lance and then another QB another round or 2 later to make sure I got a good backup in case he doesn't quite pan out. But I do think he's going to have a good season.
So we done at 2 teams left with no quarterback. I think it's a 2 that are up now.
Yeah.
That's 1 minute.
See, at this point, though, if you don't have one, do you think you need to take one or do you just wait?
No, I feel like these other guys are probably going to wait on taking their backup. So if you can maybe wait a little bit longer and fill some positions that can get a little deeper. And I think that's what you do here.
One person had a good comment in the chat about Damian Harris injured with question marks. So Ramondre Stevenson goes 5th round. Harris goes 8th round. It is a little crazy to me because I just took Harris in a draft as well, and I got him. I don't know what round. I think it was ninth, 10th round even.
Hmm.
Do you think there should be that big of a disparity between the two, personally?
No, I don't think there should be. I mean, Damian Harris, he had a good year. No, a good year, pretty good year last
He had a
year,
good year. He had
and
a-
now there's all this hype because they said once that they might trade him, and now Stevenson's going in the 5th round, the other's going in the 8th round. I feel like it doesn't make much sense in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's too big of a disparity. I do see it. Stevenson's probably going to get the pass catching work, play more of that James White role. Harris doesn't catch the ball quite as much,
Hmm.
but he scored a ton of touchdowns last year. I think he's still going to be the starter come opening
Hmm.
day of the season, and I think he might be falling too far at this point,
Yeah.
personally.
Now I have another stack. The guy we had on the one team with no quarterback, and the team did just take a quarterback and stacked of Brady and Evans.
There you go.
So I feel like almost every team now has a stack of QB and either wide receiver or their tight end.
Interesting, really interesting to see teams. I mean, usually you see that, but not this much,
Yeah.
right? I like it though. Again, I said it. I already said that. I like the strategy. I think it's a smart one, uh, and it it optimizes your scoring in the playoffs,
Mhm.
and so I think it's a smart move.
Another move that I just liked here is the guy with I think that's pick 7. Yeah, he got Penny in the 7th, and now just got Kenneth Walker in the 9th. I like that between the two
I do
because
too.
I think one of the two is going to be injured week to week. But if you had the other one, then what's the difference? I
Yeah,
mean, they're both going to be pretty solid. I mean, Kenneth Walker was phenomenal in college at Michigan State. I loved watching him play. One week, I think he had like 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's a very explosive back with a lot of potential. And Penny's never really got a like big chance because he can't stay on the field. And have Chris Carson gone, I think I like him. I like
well,
that. I
look
like
at
those
his
other
finish
stuff.
last year. He carried fantasy
Yeah.
teams down the stretch. He had a monster finish, and I think we all see what he's capable of. Just needs to stay in the field. And this was this Jack's Pro strategy though. He went heavy on receiver and then he waited on running back and he got Penny and Walker. So
Hmm.
he's got a number one running back possible situation in
Yeah.
the 7th and 9th round. So kind of a smart strategy, I think, if you're going to go that route.
Same
Personally.
with who's the guy I picked 11th? Falcon Frenzy, that was.
Yes.
He took Cordell Patterson and Tyler Algier. So he's got the same thing going there too with those two.
Yep.
Like Patterson, I know he was phenomenal last year. He carried fantasy teams, picked him up off the waiver
Yeah.
wire. But I mean, is he gonna repeat that with how old he is? I don't know. And Tyler, he's looked pretty good. I've heard in camp, so I would be surprised if he takes a role at some point in the draft, and not the draft, the year.
Yeah. Totally agree. I like this. A lot of smart owners in this draft. Not
Hmm.
surprisingly, it's $500 to get in,
Hmm.
and I mean, if you're not just going to be throwing money away if you're spending that kind of
Yeah.
money, you gotta have an idea, and that's what a lot of these owners are doing a great job here, in my opinion, and making a lot of smart picks. There's been a few more surprises, I think, in this one than the last one, though, personally. But again, got to take some chances. I talked about this 12th pick team, how I really liked him and wanted to see how his QB and tight end situation turned out.
I
So he
like
gets
it.
Kyler Murray and then Dallas Goedert as Goddard. Is it Goddard? Goddard.
Got her.
Goddard. I always say it wrong, but he gets him as a starter. So
I like it.
like it a lot. I agree.
And I also said Brian Robinson Jr., who I like personally a good amount with Gibson. I don't know what's going on with him, but he now has a fumble issue all of a sudden. And now he's playing as the kick returner and punt returner and at the third string. So I don't know what happened. And now Brian Robinson's looking good. He looked really good in that preseason game. I think he led the team in carries and yards. So I think that's a good pick that could have a decent amount of upside. So I like it.
I do like that in the 10th round. Good. It's a good depth pick, in my
Hmm.
opinion. You get him as your fourth back. I think he has a good potential. Still, Antonio Gibson really is. I don't know
I don't know.
what's going on there.
Yeah.
I just feel like the coaching staff doesn't like him for whatever reason. I think.
Yeah, I feel like
Personally.
that doesn't help either. I feel like he's not getting what he needs. He needs to work on that fumbling. If he can work on that, everything else is good with him. He can catch the ball well. He has good moves and everything. It's such a fumble issue that's really bringing him down now.
But if you watch him play though, he looks explosive.
He
Like
does.
when he was out there in that game, I watched most of it. Uh, he really catches the ball like a receiver, runs
Mhm.
routes like a receiver. So there's value there. I don't think he's a guy that's going to get benched. So I still think he's going to have a good year, personally. So I'm not totally out on him. I think getting him in the 6th round is
Hmm.
good value, in my opinion. I'm fine with that. I still think he's going to be the best back in that offense. But I like Brian Robinson too. Like you said, he's going to get some carries. He might be the goal line back. He's more fits
Hmm.
that role better than Gibson, possibly, especially if he has more fumbling problems. So it's just kind of interesting to see how these guys fluctuate in camp. Both guys going up and down. We see Pacheco flying up the board, Antonio Gibson
Hmm.
going the other way. Dameon Pierce, another guy we haven't talked about. He went in the 6th round of this draft. I like that too. Again, I talked about rookie backs. Somebody emerges every year as a top 10 back, usually at the end of the year. But even guys are top 20 who are rookies as well. Has a history of that too. And Pierce definitely has that
Hmm.
potential in that offense.
Yeah, I want to talk about Falcon Frenzy again. I like his team even more now as he added another guy that's going to go with that stack. He had Sky Moore, who I am very high on this year. I mean, he's good. I think he. I mean, with Juju, I don't know what's going to happen with him. I feel like he's poised to have a good year as a number 1 guy. But Sky Moore, he's going to be the number 2 probably. I think Harmon's out a couple weeks. What they said his injury.
Who?
McCole Harmon.
Oh, McCall Hardman, yeah. But you have Valdez Scantling there too. I think he
I
could
still
be
think Moore's probably going to go over him just because of the
yeah.
fact that they're going to use Scanlon as that guy that can hit on a deep post or a deep streak or something along those lines. As Sky Moore, I really like him a lot. I think he's going to
They
be
may
very
use
good.
him more as in the gadget type role that Tyreek Hill
They
had.
did run some plays of him. I saw in the camp that they're running like run plays with him and end the rounds, which he's going to be used like Debo Samuel in my opinion. That could really we saw what Debo did last year in that role. So
I think he could be a little boomer bust from week to
yeah.
week. Personally, I could see Kansas City really rotating receivers this year, kind of like Andy Reid has done in past years. But I still think some of those guys are going to have huge games from week to week. I do think Smith Schuster's the guy I trust the most in that offense, personally. So we're almost through round 10 here, Henry. Got about 11 minutes left in our telecast. Let's go through some more picks. So round 8, so it's going back the other way. Was Dallas Goedert was the first pick in round 8, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it went Goedert, Christian Kirk, Devin Singletary, Russell Wilson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Dak Prescott, Damian Harris, Devonta Smith, Hunter Renfrow, James Cook, Kadarius Toney, and Brandon Ayuk. I like the Ayuk pick a lot. So this is another. This is the owner who picked first, who waited on receiver, and now he gets Ayuk. I think he could have a huge year. I like that pick a lot in that spot personally. You like Ayuk?
Yeah, I like him a lot. I think that's a good pick. I feel like there's an upside. We saw last year, like the first couple of weeks, he started to kind of like he started progressing throughout the year with getting involved in that offense. And now it's also not Jimmy Garoppolo, which I think it's gonna be an upgrade in Lance. So I like it. It's a good pick.
Yeah. So Wilson goes before Dak Prescott. That's a little bit out of the ordinary. I mean, I'm fine with it. I think after you get past Allen, Mahomes, Jackson, Herbert, and Kyler Murray and Burrow, I think it kind of you can go any different ways personally. So I'm okay with that. Tom Brady too. He went the next round. I'll recap that round real quick. James Robinson, Trey Lance, Robert Woods, Miles Sanders, Chris Olave, Tom Brady, Kenneth Walker, George Pickens, Melvin Gordon, Kenneth Gainwell, Tyler Algier, and Tyler Lockett. So one thing that sticks out to me is Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell going the same round.
Yeah.
Round 9.
It's a little interesting.
That's pretty far fall for Sanders.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Sanders, I don't know about him, but I think that is a pretty far fall for him. And I also have one thing to say about the draft that just happened. We said a team take 2 straight QBs and now has 3 QBs on the roster before a team has 1.
Interesting. So I'll have to quote my friend Rick Wolf of Colton and the Wolfman. I'm on his show a lot. So is this a team playing defense here? So he's taking these guys so
I think he
to
is
keep
here.
them away from other teams.
I think he is.
Maybe that's a strategy? There's a team that doesn't have a QB yet, so maybe he hurts them by taking these good QBs off the board.
Yeah, I don't know what he's going to go here. Oh, I like that pick.
Yeah,
I like we just got Kirk Cousins. I like him a lot this year. Like you said earlier about that offense. That offense, I think, is going to be very good. New new coordinator that just was in Los Angeles with maybe the best offense last year. Not actually, I'd probably give that to the Bengals, but he was in one of the best offenses last year, so he learned a lot. Now he goes to an offense of Cousins, Jefferson, Cook, and Thielen. I like that.
So I just did this in a draft. I don't know if you agree with me, but I took Cousins before Stafford and Rodgers in a draft I was just in.
I don't know about that because those guys are proven to be guys that are going to be good in fantasy. Cousins has been decent in all those years, but I don't know. I feel like they might be set up a little better, but maybe not Rodgers. I take him over Rodgers, but
he is really consistent, Cousins.
Yeah.
I mean, 30-plus TDs. I don't know I know it's at least 2 straight seasons, 4,000-plus yards, best receiver in the game on his side.
Mm-hmm.
Dalvin Cook, a good running game. I think he's going to have a huge year. I really think he's undervalued. It's another reason I wait on a QB personally. So,
yeah,
like I said, like if I take Trey Lance, like Mongoose did, maybe I back him up with Cousins. Like if he's sitting there instead of taking Freiermuth, I might have went Cousins personally.
Yeah, we got a tight end run going here, and he doesn't have a tight end yet.
I know it's tough. Sure. You're picking on the wheel, so you don't know what's going to be available. You had to make a decision. I understand that, but definitely makes sense. But still, I may have looked at another quarterback there just because I'm not completely sold on Trey Lance being that guy, and there are some good options out there. And Derek Carr just goes too, so that's another good QB still out there.
Yeah.
So a lot of good QBs were still available at this point in the draft if you waited, and I think it's a good indication of why I'm waiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look at this team too. He's got Eckler, Chubb, Elliott, 3 very solid running backs. I think it's Kittle too. Is that who it was? Amon-Ra St. Brown too. I mean, I don't know how I feel about him as your number 1 wide receiver. We also have Cooper, Devonta Smith, and Olave. A couple guys I think could be very good. Like Cooper could be later on when Deshaun Watson comes back. I worry about Deshaun Watson too, so I don't know about that offense.
Yeah, I agree. I think there are some issues there. Henry, we are going to stop this soon in about 5 minutes. So let's kind of look at all the teams. We're through round 11. And let's pick our favorites before we go off the air. Again, if you want to get in one of these RTFFC drafts, these are the new ones, RTFFC Pro drafts. This is the gold division. It's $500 to get in. It's just a great contest. $2,000 league prize for first place, $1,000 for second, $17,000 $500 grand prize, 12 leagues, 12 leagues, and each team is 12 teams in each league. Sorry, it's a little bit of a tongue twister there, but they're great drafts. It's a great payout as well on our site. We're really proud of that, and I know people love playing them. This will definitely sell out before the season's over with. Go to rtsports.com, click on that money league link at the top of the page. You can see all the different offers we have up there. So now we're through 11 rounds, Henry. Let's look at these teams again, see who we like, who we think has the best chance to win it all at this point. Henry, I'll let you go first.
Okay, I'm going to stick to what I said the first time, I believe, Falcon Frenzy. I mean, his running backs, Cook, Dobbins, Patterson, Algier. I mean, Patterson and Algier, I mean, those are 2 guys that might, like Patterson, either he's going to play like he did last year and be really good, or he might be taken out for Algier 1 week. So those are 2 guys I really like. I love Dobbins and Cook, 2 guys I think have a high upside. And then he's got a good stack between Mahomes, Kelsey, and Sky Moore. Sky Moore has a lot of upside. Same with Mooney, in my opinion, because he's the only guy. Godwin, I really like him. And Christian Kirk. I love him a lot this year. Just for the fact you're not going to pay a guy $20 million just to not use him.
I agree.
So clearly they signed him for a lot of money because they want to use him. And I think he's going to be very involved in that offense.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to comment, too, in the chat, if you want to say your favorite team, who you like, go ahead and do that as well, and I will read it out here. I have a couple teams I like right now. I think have done a good job. I like your pick, Henry. I like Falcon Frenzy. I like the Bronx Tail team, too. Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, James Conner, Waddle, Deontay Johnson, Rashad Bateman, Jalen Hurts, Hunter Renfrow, Miles Sanders, Hines, Michael Carter. I think they have good running back depth. I know I've told you this, and I've told our listeners as well. I'm not huge on Aaron Jones as a number 1, just because Dylan, I think, is going to steal some goal line work. I worry about his touchdowns because he got a lot of his scores in the passing game. I'm just not sure if he's going to repeat that. still, I think Bronx-Tail did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
But like you, I'm sticking with the team I picked first in the 12th pick.
Yeah.
He's my favorite team right now. Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, Adam Thielen, Josh Jacobs, Kyler Murray, Dallas Goedert, Tyler Lockett, Brian Robinson, Darrell Henderson, then J.D. McKissick. So I hope he gets a little more depth at receiver. He only has 4 right now. I would add a couple more before the draft is out. But really a good core to his team, good starters, good running backs, good receivers that are starting, and then a good quarterback and tight end as well. So that's my pick. Again, a lot of good teams here, Henry. It's been a fun draft to watch. We're going to do more of these as the season draws near here, and it's a lot of fun to do these, a lot of fun to watch these. I think they're a great tool for all of you out there watching. So even if you weren't able to watch this live, for all of you who stick with us, you can watch this on YouTube in its entirety as well. It saves to there after we're done with the broadcast here. So you can watch it there as well. Like I said, great tool, a great way to get ready for your drafts as well, is to watch what some of these top experts do. These are guys, they're all top 100 players on our site. Nearly all of them are really good owners. They've done a great job in this draft. And it looks like we're going to get through 12 rounds before we go off the air. It's a 20-round draft. And if you look at the teams, it's you have, is it 10 starters? Yeah, 10 starters.
Yeah.
10 starters and 10 bench spots.
Yeah.
10 bench spots. So it's 10 and 10. Sorry about that. I should have mentioned that at the top of the broadcast. I'm saying it with a minute to go, but it's 10 bench spots, 10 starters. Again, 2 flex plays in this one. So a lot of different ways to do different strategies. Again, we've seen them here. A lot of guys done different things with going receiver early, taking a tight end early, taking a QB early. We saw a team too, the Falcon Frenzy team that you liked, actually went tight end and QB early. That's a little different strategy. Usually you do one or the other. If you go tight end early, sometimes you wait a while on a QB then. But the first team did that as well with Andrews and Lamar Jackson rounds 3 and 4. So different strategies, and it's going to be interesting to see how these teams play out here. Again, that's our draft, the RTFFC Pro Gold draft. This is the 5th one. Appreciate everybody for watching us on this broadcast. It's been a lot of fun, Henry. We'll do it again here in the next couple days. Again, go to rtsports.com, sign up for all of our different leagues we have on here, and we appreciate you watching. This has been Jeff Paur for RealTime Fantasy Sports.
And Henry Paur.
Have a great day, everyone.